Superman was leaked beating the hell out of Lex Luthor, and we may have also gotten our first look at Brainiac arriving on Earth. Filming for Man of Tomorrow is still happening on location, and more set videos keep leaking online, so consider this your spoiler warning, because we're about to get into some pretty major stuff. First of all, the leak that's probably caused the biggest reaction online is this video showing David Corenswet's Superman absolutely beating up Lex Luthor outside the theater that we had already seen in previous set leaks. And as you can see, the entire crowd surrounding the scene is basically cheering Superman on, wanting him to kill Lex Luthor and keep hitting him. But at the same time, we can clearly see that Sup stops himself before causing any permanent damage. A lot of people have already started complaining that this version of Superman is way too violent and blah blah blah. But the reality is that you can literally see the exact moment when he realizes he can't cross that line and decides to stop. And honestly, the hatred people have toward Lex inside the movie makes perfect sense. Don't forget that this guy basically split the city in half in the previous film. And it's also kind of funny that this whole situation feels like the one-eye moment from the last movie. What I really want to talk about is this other video that's currently making the rounds online, which seems to take place right after this fight, or at least during the aftermath of it. Because right when the crowd appears to be rushing toward what I assume is Lex Luthor on the ground, and just after Superman takes a step forward, a green light triggers some kind of explosion that sends everybody flying backward, except Superman. And that's where things get really interesting, because Superman just stands there completely motionless, staring straight ahead. And honestly, that's pretty weird. A lot of people are saying this could be a moment where somebody is controlling Superman, and personally, I don't think Lex Luthor is the one responsible. I think Brainiac is a much more likely option, because with some advanced technology, a specific energy pulse, or some kind of signal, Brainiac could easily take control of the Man of Steel's mind, or at the very least temporarily take him out of the fight. And before anyone says it, I seriously doubt this has anything to do with kryptonite, because Superman never looks weakened or affected physically. He literally just stands there. Now, there is a third theory, and it's a little crazier, and that theory involves Green Lantern, because as you probably remember, Aaron Pierre has been confirmed for Man of Tomorrow as Green Lantern, and a lot of people think this green light could somehow be connected to him. Personally though, I don't buy it. I'm leaning much more toward the idea that Superman is being controlled or influenced by Brainiac somehow, because the way he's acting throughout the entire scene is just too strange to ignore. Now, speaking of Brainiac, another thing that supports this theory is the fact that the villain's arrival on Earth may have literally leaked online, because a video surfaced from the set where you can actually hear James Gunn reading Brainiac's dialogue during filming. And according to the footage, this is what he says: "Attention, citizens of Metropolis, I am your ruler. If Lex Luthor is not surrendered to me, I will destroy this city." And honestly, that already gives us a pretty good idea of where this movie might be heading, especially because it seems like Brainiac is specifically looking for Lex Luthor. And there are several reasons why that could be the case. Maybe he wants to use him as a biological host, or maybe he wants to absorb his intellect. After all, one of Brainiac's most famous traits is traveling across the cosmos, collecting knowledge from the worlds he visits and destroys. And if we're talking intelligence, Lex Luthor is probably one of the smartest minds on Earth. Then again, it also wouldn't be crazy if Luthor's actions in the first movie are what caught Brainiac's attention in the first place. Don't forget the guy was opening interdimensional portals left and right and eventually sent a Superman clone through a wormhole. Maybe Brainiac detected all that activity from somewhere out in the universe and is now coming after him because he needs his help, wants his knowledge, or because Lex is somehow a key part of his real plan. And maybe this has nothing to do with it, but the whole thing reminds me of a Superman story called Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor. In that story, Lex is dying from a terminal illness, and despite all the terrible things he's done throughout his life, the one person trying to save him is Superman. Now, obviously, that's not what's happening in Man of Tomorrow, but I do think there's a thematic connection, because right now we're looking at a situation where the entire city hates Lex Luthor. People want him dead, and on top of that, now there's a powerful alien showing up wanting to take him away for who knows what. I mean, common sense would tell you to just let it happen. Let Brainiac take him. Nobody cares. The world would probably be better off without him. But that's exactly where Superman's moral code comes into play, because for Superman, it doesn't matter whether someone is good or bad. It doesn't matter whether they're a hero or a villain. If somebody's life is in danger, he's going to try to save them no matter what. And I think that's going to be a huge part of the movie's central conflict. Although, let's be honest, I don't think they're suddenly going to become friends. I still fully expect Lex Luthor to betray Superman at some point, but for now, that's everything we've got. And trust me, we're definitely getting a lot more set videos as filming continues. Hopefully, we'll start seeing some leaks from Batman 2 as well, since that's currently filming too. So stay tuned, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a ton. And with that said, that's all from me for today. Take care, my fellow bats.